This was really sad, man. There was actually a vigil going on for somebody who I believe had been killed. And this was going on outside of Christ Hospital in the south suburbs. And prosecutors say that a man who was on felony bail shot and killed another man outside an Oaklawn hospital where people had gathered to support somebody who had just been murdered at a social gathering in Chicago. So a guy named Marquise, he's 36, and the victim, a 28-year-old named Brandon from Rockford, Illinois, were part of a social club for automotive enthusiasts that gathered in the 900 block of West 87th on Friday night. So this was not gang-related. And this is being reported by, again, by CWB Chicago, man. But shortly after 1 a.m. on Saturday, the two men were shot at the gathering, and one was taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, where he died. Many of the social club members traveled to the hospital and gathered in the parking lot, including these two guys. The two men got into an argument that turned physical outside of the hospital. So they were at a vigil, okay, for somebody that had been killed. Okay, so they're both, like, this is not like ops or, rival gang members or anything like that. None of that. So they're at this thing to basically, memorialize or whatever, somebody that had just been killed. At one point, the victim actually pushed the offender to the ground. And the offender then threatened to kill the victim before they separated and walked away, they said. But the offender then returned to the group a few minutes later, or a few moments later. I don't know how long it was after that. And he shot the victim in the head, killing him. So the police officers they're at the vigil for somebody that just been killed. And at the vigil, somebody else gets killed over this argument. And what the argument was about, I don't know. Police officers who were at the hospital ran toward the gunfire. Hospitals, especially those hospitals like, in these areas that serve a lot of gunshot victims, like Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, they serve a lot of Southside shooting victims. Definitely County Hospital, Mount Sinai on the west side. These things are like police stations. There's police all over these things, man. So, at any rate, man, the police officers ran towards the gunfire. And they saw the offender walking away from the scene with a gun in his hand. So, it wasn't very hard to figure out. And police gave chase. They arrested him. There was a surveillance video of the whole thing. And the offender's hands also tested positive for gunshot residue. So he did this right by a hospital where there's cameras, there's cops, everything. So not hard to figure out at all. But the judge held him without bail on one count of first-degree murder. So they were at the vigil for one murder, and at that vigil another murder happened. She also ordered him held without bail for violating bond in another pending case. So in that case, Chicago police said that they pulled this offender over on June 6th for running two red lights on a stop sign. He allegedly got out of the car, walked away, and ignored the cops' command to stop. So prosecutors said that he resisted arrest, causing one officer to suffer a sprained wrist and the other two injure a wrist. And so he's a 6-time convicted felon. He was charged with resisting police, reckless driving, driving on a suspended license, and multiple traffic offenses, according to police records. So a vigil for one guy turns into an imminent funeral for another guy. So rest in peace to both of those guys, man. But one thing that I'll just say, if there was a large number of people there, it's on any real friends that these guys had to try and diffuse that. If you see the argument starting and you see things escalating to the point where one of the guys is talking about killing the other guy and one of the guys is shoving the other guy to the ground, friends got to break that up. That's what friends do. They got to break that up. Don't just stand back. Some people, when things start to get hot, they take out their phones, they start recording, uploading stuff to their social media account, upping their followers on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, instead of doing the right thing and trying to break the thing up. Because these things always escalate. The fights, the physical fights always escalate. That's one reason why I don't promote physical fighting anymore. I used to do that. I said, let's box it out. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore, man. Because it always turns into shooting. That's one reason. And then the other reason is the physical fighting is dangerous too. Guys get killed doing that all the time too. Beaten to death. It's going to lead away from peace, not towards peace. I know some people say, people fighting and they shake hands and make up. I don't see that happening too much. The majority of the time, it escalates the tempers, it increases the hate, it increases the negative energy around the situation, and then it leads to something even worse. if not a murder, then at least a bigger fight that includes their friends and possibly includes their different neighborhoods. And it gets more and more people involved in it, and it's just a spark that can ignite that whole, pile of straw. If there's bad blood there, if there's already resentment, jealousy, could be a lot of different things involved. I'm not saying that in this situation, but I don't know these guys, but I'm just saying in general, in a lot of situations, man, like the fighting, it a lot of times just provides that spark that's needed to just, it takes things in a negative direction, just in general. So yeah, that's my advice, to just try and diffuse the thing from the start. There's Boy Winning City Report. I'm out.